Do you wave your terrible towel when Renegade plays? Reach for a tasty cake when JJ shouts, "He scores!" Does the sound of an F1 engine make your heart race? Doing push-ups with a Nittany Lion after a TD? Then lend us an ear, and we will share the exhilaration of Steelers football, the excitement of Flyers hockey, the nail-biting finishes of F1, and the pride when we yell, "We are Penn State." Welcome to the SteelFlyers Show, the strangest combination of sports fandom since pineapple was put on pizza.
It's hot, 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 like your host, SteelFlyers.
Thank you. That is a delightful co-host, Ronies.
Steelers training camp is heating up with game day on Saturday.
Nittany Lions open at Purdue in 3 weeks, and are they ready to roar?
F1 is on a break for the summer, but we're still rolling.
And boy, aren't we.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for dropping by and listening in and checking us out. We are so glad you joined us. We're so thankful that you're here. By all means, please hit the like and subscribe. Thank you for checking us out. You can go to all of your podcasting platforms, and thank you to Spreaker for bringing us to your listening.
They're great.
To your listening capabilities, and they're the ones that puts us out on all the great platforms: Amazon, Google, Spotify, iHeart, Apple. You know what I mean? So we're out on all those platforms thanks to Spreaker. They take really good care of us, and they do a great job on the podcast, and they have a great service, and I would highly suggest going to Spreaker.com if you want to start a podcast or check them out. So, here we are, Season 2, Episode 7, and pads popping in Latrobe as F1 takes a break.
Wow. The August is vacation season, so... It
is, and that's usually...
In Europe area.
Yeah, usually in Europe area, and usually they've been doing this now for, I'd say, the better part of 7 or 8 years now.
Where they take a break in August?
Yeah, where they take a month. Well, ever since the season has gone to more than 16 races.
Okay.
They've done a summer break now where they take a month off, and teams are not allowed to meet. You're not allowed to, the factory has to be closed.
So they're not even, doing any testing or anything?
Yeah, you're not allowed to.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. So, you have to be on vacation.
I wish I had a job where they made me take vacation.
Not just make you take it, but, 4 weeks of it. All at once. Here you go. Take your vacation. Here you go.
Well, they work for it, so at least,
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Those mechanics and engineers and folks that work for F1 teams, they're making pretty good money.
Right, but, they're working really hard, so...
Exactly, they're earning their money. You know what I mean? They work really hard, and so they get to take a month off, and I really love the European view of work, because they have the view of work is not who you are, it's what you do.
Right, it's a completely different mindset.
Exactly, because in the United States, it's... work is who you are, everybody associates you, what do you do for a living? Oh, so you're this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Well, okay, that's just what I do, but that's not who I am.
Right. But it's always the first question.
Yeah.
When you meet somebody you don't know. Oh, what do you do? Where do you work?
I'm a podcaster. Really? Who do you work for? I'm SteelFlyers All Sports Network.
There you go.
Right? Well, what do you do? I'm SteelFlyers.
And then you have a job where you kind of have to explain what you do, and it becomes I really don't want to go into it. Can we just skip this question?
Yeah, I'm with you. So, but the forced break now for Formula One.
Don't they call this the silly season, where they start making moves and trades and whatever they do?
Yeah, we're approaching the silly season. Yes, is fast approaching. Usually things are announced the end of the break or around-ish. But you see, that's just it, though, because you're not allowed to do anything during the break.
okay, you're not allowed to, but I'm sure there's some things going on in the background.
We don't know, but that's highly speculative. You know what I mean? So maybe
I don't know. I'm just assuming human nature.
Just like there's no phone calls between players on one team to players on another team going, "Hey man, you should come here and play." Tell me that doesn't happen. Like, seriously, come on. In any sport, basketball, baseball, hockey, football, you can't tell me that there's not players, especially guys that know one another.
Well, yeah, went to college together, or
played in the junior leagues, or played in college, or wherever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's always some way, somehow, people know each other.
Right.
You know what I mean? Oh, so what's it like there, and such and such, or what's this coach like for such and such?
Right.
And you know what I mean? Yeah. All right.
So, do we have any F1 news?
Actually, we do.
Okay.
Right before, or right at the break, right before the break, or the week of the break, I guess you want to call it, there was an announcement that Alonso was going to be moving to Aston Martin for 2023.
So who's losing their seat at Aston Martin?
Well, Sebastian Vettel is retiring.
Oh, he's taking Vettel's spot.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So Sebastian Vettel's going to retire, and so
How funny is it that he's going to retire? We just watched a rerun not too long ago, and it was like his second season or something, and he was so young.
So young, yeah,
How is it he can already...
And it was like, 12 years ago. I was like, all right, really? Like, yeah, it's been that long ago, Yeah. Sebastian Vettel is going to retire and after this season, and it's amazing the 4 championships that he was able to win with Red Bull, and I mean, he wants to spend the time now with his family. He wants to be there while he can be. Right.
I think we talked about that, where it's just, hey, you might as well enjoy it while you can.
Because I think, I'm not trying to be horrible or morbid or mean or whatever you want to. I think what happened to Michael Schumacher, I think really kind of, especially now that he's got kids that are young. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And he wants to be there for the kids.
Right.
He doesn't, it's ripping his heart out to not be there now.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And so...
I don't blame him.
Yeah, and we pray for Michael, I mean...
Yeah, it's a shame.
It is, and I mean, he was, even wearing a helmet and everything, and it's just, that's how things are supposed to play out, and it's not always what we like.
No.
But that's the way it is, but F1 gets to take a break, and Alonso gets to go to Aston Martin. And now there's an open seat at McLaren.
Interesting.
Or not McLaren, I'm sorry, or Alpine.
Okay.
But there actually is going to be an open seat because Ricciardo is going to go back to, I think he's going to Alpine to take over for Alonso leaving.
Okay.
Right?
So he's going to one, and... So that
leaves an open seat then at McLaren.
Right.
So...
Who do you think will take it?
Well, they've been talking about this rookie guy, Pascal, or whatever his name is. There was a lot of hype about him, and he was supposed to take the seat at such and such, but now because of whatever, and rules, and however, who owns the rights, and whatever, and...
Right.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, we'll find out, we'll find out. So, Alonso's still driving, still getting her done.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's been consistently finishing within the top 10 the last 3 years.
Right. I mean, that's amazing.
It is, and getting points, and he's even polled and or won a race here or there once.
Yeah.
A year.
Didn't he win one last year, I think?
Something like that. It's been a while since he's won a race, and he finally won one last year or earlier this year or something I can't remember. But, you know, Alonso's still, I mean, he is the talent. I mean, it doesn't matter what car you put him in, he's able to get the best out of the car. And
hey, that's what you want out of a driver, right?
Exactly. You know, I mean, you can't teach that kind of thing. So, but really looking forward to them coming back, and I believe the race back is Spa-Francorchamps.
That's horrible. Don't ever do that again. No,
I'm sorry.
Just kidding.
But it's such a great racetrack, and it's such a great way. It's such a great name, and you know.
Right.
Come on. It's
exciting.
It's exciting. It's one of the best tracks on the calendar. That and Monza.
Yeah. And Monte Carlo.
Monte Carlo. Well, that's the crown jewel. You know what I mean? But and everything that's a given.
Right.
Because it's the crown jewel. That
right.
Everybody's hyped for that, and so I mean, okay. So what do you think we move on here to something else?
We could talk about...
Let's talk about the
Flyers.
Flyers? No, there's nothing really to talk about the Flyers.
I know. They haven't done anything.
Well, other than some re-signings and some players announced to be playing at the World Juniors.
Okay.
You know, I believe Sanheim is one of them, and I forget who there's a couple guys that are playing on the World Juniors.
We're losing Joel this year, right? For a while?
Probably for the first, month or so-ish of the season, depending. I mean, he had a slip disc.
It hurts.
So you don't just pop up from that. Yeah. You know, walk that off. No.
You get to go do some therapy.
Yeah, that would be putting it mildly. You know what I mean? And I gotta tell you, if you guys really want to check out some straight talk about the Flyers, you gotta go check out the Hockey Writers Inc. We put a show out every week where we give you the straight talk about the Flyers.
Just had Jim Jackson?
Yep, and just did a special SteelFlyers Podcast episode with special guest Jim Jackson, where was able to get Jim's take. He was not able to be on the broadcasters roundtable, so
yeah, I know he was kind of disappointed about not being able to do it.
Yeah, but wanted to kind of give him that platform to kind of say what speak his piece a little bit, I guess, and he took every opportunity to do so, and it was a great show. And thanks, Jim, for being on the show and for continuing to support anything that we do, and really appreciate it, and really look forward to talking to him after training camp, because I want to see how some things get ironed out, when training camp comes, and
how he's feeling about it, and
right, and where are we looking, and how we're feeling, and you know what I mean. So, but check that out. It's out on YouTube. It's a conversation with Jim Jackson. Check that out. That was just posted yesterday, so you can go onto the YouTube channel and check that out. And so, not much to talk about for the Flyers. So, what I really like to talk about is, how about them Pittsburgh Steelers? Or, I mean, we have pads popping up there in Latrobe now.
We got more than pads popping. There's been some fisticuffs going on there, too.
Well, there always is.
Okay.
In every camp, there's always a little scuffleage.
Okay.
That's a Steelism.
Okay.
Scuffleage.
No, okay.
It's a Steelism. What? If Myron Cope can say things, what? You know? So, there. I mean, a lot of things are going on, especially with training camp really heating up. And
so, how's the quarterback race going?
Well, to be honest with you, it's been back and forth. It's kind of really up in the air. I mean, it doesn't really seem like anybody's really kind of
standing out,
taking the bull by the horns and, you know, wrestling it down. You know, like, yes, this is my job, and there's nobody really putting a stake in the ground going, yeah, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
I mean, it's like they're taking their snaps and they're doing the best they can with what they got when they can.
Right.
I mean,
there's no clear leader.
Exactly. And that's, I think, one of the things that could potentially hinder the Steelers moving forward in the offense. Because they clearly need a leader.
Yeah. They've had, you know, Ben, I mean, even though he was older and, you know,
but
he was a leader on the team, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And so they need that. Now, is Najee that guy, or could he be that guy? Yeah, but this only his second year.
Yeah, I mean, he's not had the experience yet.
Exactly. And we need some of the guys on the offensive line to kind of step it up, and we need, you know what I mean?
Right.
And there's a lot of ifs with the Steelers moving forward. I mean, I think they have the capability of being in contention for the division. I really do.
You know, you never know. I mean, I think they may need another year, but...
I mean, I'm not saying that they're going to go out and win it all.
Right.
I'm just saying they're going to be in contention for the division.
Okay.
That's all. I think they have enough talent, especially with the re-signing of Dante Johnson.
That was good news.
I mean? The extension that he got. You know what I mean? So, I believe it was for 2 years.
Okay.
30... or 2 years, like... $42 million or something, and like $36 million is guaranteed, or it was 2 years, $42 million, I think, or something. Our crack research staff is currently in process of looking up the...
Yes, because my fingers are... He signed a 2-year, $36 million contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
There you go, $36 million, 2 years.
With a $17.5 million signing bonus.
Okay, but there's like a good portion of it that's guaranteed, though.
$27 million.
Yeah, there you go. So, $27 million out of 36 is pretty much most of it guaranteed.
Right.
So, all right, I'll take that for 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's good news. We get to keep him for 2 years.
And at a much cheaper rate than what some of the receivers are going right now.
You know, I was listening to the radio the other day, and this would make me laugh. And they were talking about baseball, but it's still appropriate. And they were talking about how this, I forgot what team it was, but it was early 70s. They won the World Series, and the winning pitcher, the week later, was working at like a car dealership because he only made like $8,000.
In what year?
It was early 70s. I don't remember the exact year.
Yeah, right.
And he had to have a whole nother job.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine some of our players that we, in the league, over the league, that, you know, would be willing to pay for that play, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a random...
I mean, when you look at guys from the 70s that played football, I mean... to make the playoffs,
That was a big bonus, man.
Because that was like an extra, $7, $8, $9, whatever $1,000 check. Hey, we're making the playoffs. All right, that's an extra check.
Right.
So that was incentive.
Okay, now with inflation and all that, I'm sure it doesn't sound... It's probably not as extreme as it sounds, but it's still not $36 million.
Well, there were guys that had, jobs in the off-season.
Well, you remember the Rocky Blyer story.
Well, yeah.
He was selling insurance or something.
But there were other guys in other cities and other teams.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
That had other jobs that did, because back then it wasn't, football all year,
That was your only focus.
Right. There was only, I think there was 14 games.
I don't even think it was that many. I think it was maybe 12.
13 or 14 games.
Okay.
Right? Maybe 15 games. You know what I mean? And then that was it. Right? And, every year, the Super Bowl was the same time every year. The playoffs were pretty much the same time every year, like December.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because you were done playing by like middle of December. So like Christmas time was usually the first round or...
Yeah. All right, let's steer it back to the main road.
All right, back to the main road is...
So who are we getting back from injury? Are we getting anybody back?
Well, we had Minka Fitzpatrick come off the PUP list.
Good.
Okay, so that's good. And also Dante Johnson as well, too, is going to be able to... is going to practice. Do you know what I mean? And I think Najee is coming back, too, from a foot.
Yeah.
Right? And there's been some other, bumps and bruises that are, happening here's and there's.
Right.
But Minka Fitzpatrick coming off the PUP list, that's huge. We'll take that all day long.
Yeah.
And Dante Johnson getting that extension, we'll take that all day long too. But the really...
I did hear that Martavius Adams went down with an ankle injury this week.
Right. So, like I said, there's been some bumps and bruises, as Mike Tomlin would call it.
Right.
From camp. It's going to happen. Guys are going to get hurt. Things are going to happen. That's just the way it is. You know what I mean? And I'm going to be interested to see that, especially with the first preseason game coming up this Saturday.
I was going to ask you, what are your thoughts on that?
It's going to be against Seattle, and I think we're going to see a rotation.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think we're going to see all three quarterbacks.
Okay.
Quite honestly, I really do. I think we're going to see a rotation of just about... it makes sense. We're such a young team.
Yeah. We're still trying to make some decisions, I guess.
We probably won't see, Najee probably won't play at all.
Well, considering he's just coming back from an injury, it probably wouldn't make a lot of sense.
Right. You know what I mean? So, and maybe Fitzpatrick isn't going to play neither.
Okay.
Since he's just been, coming off the PUP list. And there might be some guys, too, that might not play, like Cam Hayward probably won't see much time. Maybe T.J. Watt might not see much time. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Usually that first preseason game, usually you would see starters for a series or two. And then that was it.
How many preseason games are there now? 3?
Yeah, so now there's 3.
Okay.
So, yeah, this first preseason game, I'm going to pretty much guarantee we're going to see all 3 quarterbacks. I'm not the coach of the team, but if I was the coach of the team, I would be looking at all 3 quarterbacks in every situation.
Right. It's the only way you're going to be able to evaluate them.
And not just having, one quarterback out there with the first team and one quarterback out there with the second team, one quarterback out there with the third team.
Right.
I would just mix and match and put them out there with, you know what I mean? Okay, so you're going to play this quarter and a half, you're going to play this quarter and
Right.
a half, and you're going to play this quarter and a half.
Right.
There's the other guy too. Like, gosh,
I don't even think he'll play. I think he's
South Dakota State. No, he probably will, because they need to see if he's going to be the second string guy. Because, quite honestly, I think with the drafting of Kenny Pickett, I think that pretty much spelled the end for Mason Rudolph, unless he can win the second string job. If he does, then that'll allocate Pickett to the training squad or the practice squad.
Yeah.
Right, and probably the same with the other quarterback. If he doesn't get released or waived, do you know what I mean? So we'll see how it goes. That's what preseason's for. That's why they play the game, so we can see what happens and see who goes and who stays.
Okay. Well, I can't believe preseason starts this weekend. It's just...
I know, right?
It's crazy.
Actually, it started last weekend with Hall of Fame.
Well, that's true. The Hall of Fame game is always considered the first preseason game.
Right.
So who was inducted this year?
Well, quite a few guys.
I'm sure it's not as great as it was last year, because
it was major last year, because not only did they have the regular induction, but they also had the special induction that they didn't get to do because of COVID.
Right. There were 3. There was the 2020, the Millennium class,
then the
2021.
Well, they combined the 2020 and the Millennium class together.
Right.
So and then the 2021 class.
Right. If there was ever a time to go to the Hall of Fame, that was the weekend to do it.
And man, I have to tell you, I'm feeling a little bit left out.
Yeah, well, there are no Steelers this time.
Yeah.
That's, because they inducted everybody else already. Nobody else is ready yet.
Yeah, no, but yeah, right, yeah. No, but the fact that we got to go last year to watch the speeches on both days was...
Yeah, that was very cool.
Definitely checking that off the bucket list kind of thing. I couldn't have been there for, when Franco Harris or Terry Bradshaw or Joe Green went in, because it was, in the late 80s.
And what, you were too young? No, I'm just kidding.
Pretty much. I wasn't necessarily too young, but I wasn't necessarily
old enough
to really afford to go out there.
No, I'm kidding.
And go do that. So it was not like I was able to watch when they went in,
Right.
And so thank goodness for YouTube, because you can watch their speeches. And what's really amazing, right, is when you watch their speeches, you know how when you walk up to the Hall of Fame and it's that little,
the steps to the door?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's that area there where there's, a whole bunch of steps that go up to the door, right? Well, so that is where they used to have the speeches. And all the people would sit in, that was the parking lot.
Right, and they put the bleachers there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, right? And so that's where, because they didn't necessarily have a football field there either.
When did they build that? I thought it was built the same time as the Hall of Fame.
Okay, so the Hall of Fame was opened in 1963. And it was set next to the field that was originally, the Canton Bulldogs?
Yes, the Canton Bulldogs.
And so that field has been there since 1920-something?
Right.
Okay, so the Hall of Fame was built next to that field, and then it was named Fawcett something Field, right, for a number of years, and then it was rebuilt in 2015.
I think sometime in the mid 2000s they rebuilt it.
Okay.
Yeah, they ripped what they had down and put up a new thing. And
okay, so the new stadium now is in the site of where the old original Canton Bulldogs played, which was the original home of the NFL.
Right. That was founded in Canton.
Right.
So that's why the NFL Hall of Fame is in Canton.
Right. Exactly. So, but Dick Vermeil got to go into the Hall of Fame.
I forgot. Yeah, that was a good one.
And there was the running joke, probably actual running bet on how long it would take for him to cry. And so somebody posted on Twitter and said, what's going to be the odds on him crying? How long is it going to take him to cry? And and I said, we're not even going to get to the speech. I said, he's going to probably be crying after the introduction and the revealing of the bust.
Right. I mean, that's...
He hasn't even said anything yet. Right? The introduction and the revealing of the bust, he'll probably walk up to the podium with big old crocodile tears streaming down his face. I mean, the guy wears it on his sleeve, and I absolutely, utterly appreciate that because...
He did cry.
I do the same, and of course he did, and so... But well-deserved, Coach. Well-deserved. Well-deserved, you know what I mean? And I was very excited to see him make it in. Do you know what I mean?
Right. I mean, I think he should have been in for a while.
I mean, the greatest show on turf. I mean, you can't deny what that team was able to do. I mean, it's almost like, well, if you have Dick Vermeil in, now, I don't think Air Coryell, or Don Coryell, I don't think he ever won a Super Bowl with his team.
Yeah.
With Air Coryell, because he was the guy that coached Dan Fouts, and I don't think they ever won a Super Bowl.
Okay.
Right, but Dan Fouts is in the Hall of Fame.
All right.
I mean, he has the numbers, you know what I mean? So, but really good to see the Hall of Fame going on, and
by the way, I know this is off topic, but he did cry, but the only reason he started crying is he started talking about his wife.
Well, yeah.
That's what broke him. He started talking about his wife and how she'd supported him, and that's what brought him to tears.
I mean, can you imagine what it would be like to be married to somebody and then just not see him for,
months,
months at a time during the year? I
right.
mean, how do you keep that together? I mean, how do you know what I mean? Like, that's a special kind of bond, you know what I mean? And a coach's wife is a very special woman, because you basically allow your husband to go chase his dream to coach, and coaching is, as we know today, coaches are there at, till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And they're there, a couple hours later.
Right.
To open the building. So, I mean, and now with today, the way today is, there's no off-season, quote unquote.
Not really, no.
You get maybe a total of 2 months out of the year where, you get some time off, but there's very little time away.
Right. And it's always there. It's always in the front of your head.
Exactly.
You can't tell me that it's not, that they can turn that off.
I know that I would be able to at least go on vacation and enjoy and all that other stuff, but I would still be thinking of stuff and still be, you know what I mean? That probably would never go away, you know.
Any other NFL news?
Yeah, I'm not really all that excited about this, but the Deshaun Watson suspension is, 6 games?
Yeah.
So.
For now. The NFL is trying to push for a full year. They're still working on it.
Oh, the NFL is?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I
think... I don't know what Cleveland was thinking. I get, he's a great player, whatever. But somebody that's dealing with all of that right now is such a distraction to your team. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're going to have this quarterback, but he can't play for this many games. And it may be more. We don't know yet. So how are you supposed to build, camaraderie? What's the word I'm looking for? Chemistry.
Yeah.
With your team if you don't know that he's going to be there. You know what I mean?
Or if he's only going to be there for a certain amount of time and then he's not going to be there.
And then there's always going to be another story. It just... I understand they're giving him a chance, but I don't get it. So.
Not only that, but they gave him this huge contract, right? And then guaranteed most of it, or all of it, or whatever, like $230 million guaranteed, like. And he's not even going to play in the first 6
I guess
games.
that, again, this is my opinion. It kind of shows the reason that the Browns are where they are. I mean, they had so much potential the last couple of years. They had really good players. They had,
first-round quarterback, again.
Right. And it just fizzled because what are they doing?
Their first-round quarterback isn't even on the team right now.
Right, he's playing for the Jags?
No, he's playing for Carolina.
Yeah, okay.
Baker Mayfield got...
I knew it was somebody. I just couldn't remember.
Waived, released, traded, whatever you want to call it.
Well, I mean, obviously, he was probably ready. He's like, okay, you hired somebody else. I'm out of here. And I bet he's happy. I bet he's kind of relieved.
Well, I really don't believe that somebody with that many questionable marks should even... I mean, I know that there was no... there was no criminal...
Right, it was all a civil.
Right, so they didn't find anything criminal, right? But it's now civil, and it's the fact that this was allowed to happen, and not only was it allowed to happen, but then Cleveland said, well, hey, we'll back the Brinks truck up and dump a living room full of money at you.
It's just... I'm trying to be nice. It's a problem in our society that we value sports sometimes more than we should. Now, I'm a sports fan. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't. I follow my teams. I support them.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean,
you
yell at the TV more than I do sometimes. I mean,
but,
we go to the games and you're screaming and yelling more than me. So.
Yeah, I tend to get carried away.
That's okay. That's all right. That's okay. That's why you're the co-host.
But, these people are... This isn't the only issue in the NFL that's like this. There's a lot of things that need to be brought into the 2022. Let's put it that way. I'm not talking like singing Kumbaya in the locker room, but some things...
Well...
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
There's got to be some type of... And I think I know what you're trying to say here, and I'm going to see if I can swing for the fences a little bit on this. There has to be kind of a culture swing where women are treated with respect even though they're in sports. Or do you know what I mean?
You're
part of
that... establishment is not the right word, but you're involved with it. Like, you work with NFL players, or you happen to be married to an NFL player, or...
Well, I don't know if that's the case.
No, but I mean, there's just been so many incidences of, this person's arrested for this, and this person's arrested for this. It just frustrates me that the leadership doesn't address these things quickly. It seems like sometimes they are allowed to fester until somebody says something and it becomes an issue. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like they're not going to do anything until somebody screams and then they're going to do something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And then sometimes they overreact completely in the wrong direction.
Yeah, before they should, yeah.
And it just...
I'm with you. And quite honestly, there are some things and folks and people that maybe shouldn't be playing football.
I mean...
Maybe he's one of those types of people that right now he should just not be playing football because he needs to take care of what he needs to take care of. You know, look...
It's a hard subject.
It is, and I'm all for giving somebody second chances, and I'm all for forgiveness if you ask for it. Do you know what I mean?
And you change your behavior, and you earn that, and you earn respect, but...
Exactly. So, I guess we'll have to see what ends up happening with this, and I guess it is what it is until that point.
Right.
But at the very least, it's 6 games. At the very least.
Right.
Honestly, I think it should be 1 for each mark.
That's... Yeah, I don't know.
What that would put him into...
I don't think he should have gotten to this point.
Well, that too. I mean, I'm with you.
I don't know. There's some things about this story that are a little sketchy. There's some other things that are really reprehensible, and it's just... I don't know.
The whole thing just stinks all the way from the top to the bottom.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it shouldn't be part of what's in football.
Right. We should be talking about football, not what's going on.
We should be talking about the Guardian
Oh, the
caps.
Guardian caps. The beehives. They look like giant black beehives on their head.
Right.
And I understand why they're doing it. It's just... Here's my question about those.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, completely get off the topic.
No, it's okay. It was a good segue.
Okay, all right.
We usually take bad ones, but that was a good one.
Okay.
Anyway, so the Guardian cap. They're using them in practice. If they see that that's successful, are we going to see those maybe move into game day? Do you think? Someday?
No.
Or something similar to it?
No, I don't think so. I think you'll see more of a modified helmet.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Where the way that they're building the helmets now, they're built to take a certain amount of the impact away from certain areas of the head, and there's padding inside the helmets that, you can get to a certain level.
Well, the reason that I read was that the reason they're using the Guardian caps is you actually take more hits in practice than you do during the game.
Well, think about that for a second. If you start practice at, say, 1:55 in the afternoon, right? And after you do all your stretches and running and everything, and now you're all warmed up and you're sweating a little bit, right? Now you're going to go pair up and go do drills and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, how many times do you think you're going to run through and smack the other guy across from you?
I don't know.
A lot.
Okay.
All right. Many more times than you would, say, in a game situation. In a game situation, you have, say, on average, okay, there's, say, maybe between 80 and 100 snaps.
Okay.
Well, how many snaps do you think you're taking in practice? Probably like 300.
Well, the other thing with that is that you're doing it every day. Not just one day and then you have some recovery time.
A couple hours and then, you
have some time to, recover and then you're doing it again with, practice, but you have a little bit of window there too, so.
Right. So I think it's a preventative, and it's also, I think it's a good thing, because I think then you're going to see that technology move into the helmets, to where helmets will become a lot more safer, and guys will be able to withstand some of those.
Well, it'll prevent brain injury, which is completely wonderful. So.
Well, okay. It can be preventative if you teach the players to not lead with their head. Okay? If you lead with your head, it doesn't really matter how much padding you have on your head. If you lead with your head and you jar your head or whatever into whatever you're, going against, suddenly going the opposite direction or whatever the case.
Right.
It's not going to end well for you.
No.
Okay? So, like I said, that's part of the coaching. That's part of the, teaching the guys from very early age that the best way to tackle is with your head up.
Not down.
Not down. And you don't run at somebody and then launch yourself while you're looking at the grass at somebody either.
Right.
Because, well, what if that guy jukes you out of your ankles and now you're flying at space? You're going to hit the ground.
That's going to hurt.
And it's going to hurt. No. Why don't you follow that guy with your, you put your eyes right in their numbers, right? And then that's where you aim your shoulders and you hit him right there in the numbers with your head up and you wrap and drive. And down they go, right? That's how you tackle. It's pretty basic.
I know.
Okay, so with all of the new coaching changes and everything that's been going up there in Pittsburgh, I'm going to be very interested. That's why I'm not as cautiously optimistic about the chances of Pittsburgh as I am about the Flyers.
I was going to say, who's going to have the worst season?
Yeah, I don't know. But speaking about having a worse season, let's get into a little something that we haven't talked about a little bit, and that is Penn State.
Yeah, college football almost
That's right.
here.
I mean, I can hear the music playing. I can see the whiteout already. I mean, I can just see this section of bleachers bouncing as the,
Yeah, all the white just
exactly,
moving.
And so Penn State, for the first time in a very long time, well, not so much so, but for the first time in a while, is not ranked in the top 25 in the preseason.
Right.
Finally.
You think that's a good thing?
Yes.
Why?
Okay.
Because you can only go up from here?
Right. And, if you win, guess what? Hey, it only gets better. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Instead of starting off at, whatever, and then now you have to win.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah. So for the first time in a while, Penn State is not ranked in the top 25.
Right.
At all, right? I think they're, in the top 30? Barely.
Well, depending on the poll, it's between 20 and 30.
Right. So at least 30th. Okay, I would at least go 30th. Right? I wouldn't even you would have to scroll to see them, click the next page or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I would view that.
Yeah.
But not being ranked as high as they have been the last couple of seasons takes the pressure off.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, in my opinion. Right?
Okay.
In my opinion, it takes the pressure off because now you don't necessarily have to win. You can just, plus the fact that they're a young team, they got a bunch of new recruits coming in. You know what I mean? They lost some guys last year to the draft. So, I mean...
They have some new coaches, don't they?
Yeah, they also have quite a few guys turned around and went and left. There's a new defensive coordinator, a new offensive coordinator, right? A new special teams coach, and there's also a new strength and conditioning coach too.
Okay.
Right. So the strength and conditioning coach retired, right, and the offensive coordinator got a job at Virginia Tech as head coach, right? And so some of the other guys left, doing the same thing, getting jobs elsewhere.
Right.
Right? So, Going to be interesting to see what Penn State does. I mean, they got, a pretty interesting season. Their schedule looks a little bit on the tough side. I mean, just there's not.
Well, they start with Purdue, and then the second
at Purdue,
and then they play Ohio, Auburn. Auburn's going to be hard. Central Michigan, Northwestern Michigan.
Oh yeah.
Minnesota again with Ohio State.
Well, no, that's Ohio State.
Ohio State, sorry. Indiana, Maryland, Rutgers, and then Michigan State.
Yeah, so a pretty little meaty bit schedule there for when you get into the Big Ten conference games. Do you know what I mean? So, going to be interesting to see how Penn State goes this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited about seeing college football coming back. I mean, we're talking September 1st. That's 3 weeks.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
I mean, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's, August.
I know.
All right.
Well, I can when I go outside, man.
Well, that's true. I mean, it is pretty much disgustingly hot outside. You know what I mean? So, but
everywhere.
we want to thank you all so very much for checking us out and tuning in. We want to make sure that we remind you guys to check out the great Perlo Wisdom Show. You can find him on the SteelFlyers website. You can also find him on YouTube at Perlo Wisdom. Also check out Peyton Out on the radio. And also check out Off the Wall Hockey. And don't forget to check out, that's right, the Hockey Writers Inc. with the great Lance Green. Yeah, man. So thank you very much for tuning in, checking us out, hitting the like and subscribe, and we will catch you all the next time, right?
Absolutely.
So thank you very much for our co-host, Ronice. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a lovely evening.
Have a lovely evening, a lovely afternoon, and a lovely morning wherever you are. And just remember, folks, stay safe, stay strong, and hang tough.